currently headed over to look at a Nissan Leaf. It's a 2011 Nissan Leaf. It's an all-electric car, and pretty sweet, pretty good price for it. So maybe I'll get my first electric car today. Who knows? I am headed over to give it an extended test drive because these Leafs are known to have some like battery degradation that really affects the range and everything. So I'm gonna give it like a full-on range test today to see if I want it or not. If the battery is shot, probably not gonna get it. But if the battery is still halfway decent, probably will. Very excited. All right, boys, here she is right here. So I'm gonna give it a spin, see how far it goes, if the range is any good. All right, let's give it a start. I want to show you guys the range. All right, the range currently says 45 miles. I think that's a full charge. It's 7 of 12 of the original bars. Definitely some battery degradation, and it's gonna be time to replace it here in the next, who even knows, couple years maybe. Anyway, so I'm gonna see if it actually gets me 45 miles, because if it does, I'm okay with that for around town kind of car. He is asking $3,800 for this car, which is a little bit below Kelley Blue Book value. So 39,000 miles on it, pretty low mileage, not too bad. And so if it performs well today, I think I'm gonna get myself this Leaf. All right, well, here it is. It's doing pretty well, dude. I took it, I don't know, I wanna say maybe 12, 13 miles, and it's doing pretty well so far. My ribs are starting to hurt after the longboard crash. All right, well, so far, I'm really loving it, dude. It's a really nice little car. I've gone like 21 miles so far. I have 19 miles left. And this has mostly been country driving, so I'm definitely, I mean, for the range and the battery degradation that it already has sustained and everything, I'm pretty impressed how well it judges the distance you have left. So I think, you know, I think I'm pretty sold on it. And it's definitely just a fun little car to drive. Pretty peppy when you step on it, but nothing crazy. Very smooth, the suspension, everything, you barely feel bumps in this thing. I'm pretty impressed. I think I'm sold for $3,800. All right, well, that does it. 39,155, so I drove 27 miles. 11 miles left on the charge, it says. Not too bad. Most of that was country driving as well, so not too bad. I'm very happy with it. I definitely think I'm sold. And if I hate it, I'll sell it for the same price I got it for. This is a 2011 Nissan Leaf. I just bought this car for $3,800. Might it be a bad investment? Very well could be. These 2011 Nissan Leafs, they're the very first generation Nissan Leaf and one of the first electric cars to be on the market. There was also the Mitsubishi Mi EV as well on the market at the same time as this one. But this is technically the first production electric car on the market. I think the Mitsubishi Mi EV was actually too low of production numbers to actually call it a production car, but I could be wrong. I don't know. I saw one the other day. Dude, we're riding by right now. We just found an electric Mitsubishi, 63 miles per charge, 3,400. It looks like it's better than a freaking Nissan Leaf, and that's a pretty good price. So we're definitely gonna have to check that out and see if this is actually good, even just for parts. Like 3,400 worth of parts and a good frame, and it's freaking street legal and everything. We'll have to check that out, dude. Really cool find though. And I've been in the market for an electric car for a while because I've been wanting to get into it, but I don't want to blow all the money on a Tesla, and it's more for just an around town commuter anyway. So something with a little bit less range on it, but still all electric is totally fine with me. Been watching the market, keeping up what comes and goes, and this is definitely the best deal that I found on it. $3,800 for a 2011 Nissan Leaf. It has 39,000 miles on it, so it's a pretty low mileage example of the Nissan Leaf from this year. And it was in pristine condition. There is nothing, it looks like a brand new car. I'll show you guys soon. You open the door, it almost looks like a new car inside. Why this might not be a good investment though is because this year of car is actually known for their degraded batteries. This car has 7 of the 12 original battery bars on it, so it's degraded almost to 50% at this point because this car does not have active cooling for the batteries, so it's just ambient temperatures affect it, and there's not really much you can do about it. So a lot of early Leaf buyers, especially in Arizona, Florida, places like that where the parking lots get to 140 degrees, this is what I'm hearing, very hot ambient temperatures, were actually degrading the batteries to about 50% within the first couple years. And so Nissan actually had to release a warranty for their batteries because they were just completely dying. But this one, the battery is basically normal degradation. It's at like 7 to 12 bars, and that's pretty common for a battery of this age. It's about 9.5 years old, and I do expect to be replacing it in the next few years, which will cost me about $5,000 or more. But I'm gonna enjoy it while I can, and this is gonna be a great intro to just the electrical grid and figuring out how it all works before I actually, you know, ball out with the Tesla eventually. But anyway, I'm very excited about this car. It is kind of like the oddball, like kind of a funky looking car. It's definitely nothing to look at and be like, man, this is such a nice looking car. It's more like, yeah, it looks like an electric car from the 2011 era. But I personally don't mind it at all. So let's do it. Let's take a look, guys. The only imperfection that I found on this car, literally the only one, is there is a scratch right here. And it continues back here, but again, this is so minor, it doesn't look like he actually sideswiped something. It looks like maybe something brushed against the car, but that's the only damage on the entire car. The headlights and the whole thing, of course, could use a good wash. But the headlights, definitely, I'm gonna just like restore them, buff them out, and clean up the headlights a little bit. Make them look a little bit like new. You guys can see there is some oxidation on it, but it's just minor stuff like that. That the cars, honestly, after 9 years, the stock headlights are gonna start doing that. Coming around here, you guys can see this is a zero emissions vehicle. Let's come inside the car really quick, show you guys how nice it is in here. Look how clean this interior is. There's literally nothing wrong with it. There's not even any scuffs or anything. Like, let me show you guys as close as I can get. There, it's literally almost a brand new looking car in here. A little dusty right now, but you guys can see there's nothing wrong with this car at all. And a lot of people, when they're reviewing cars and whatnot, they have like a little asterisk next to, you know, this is a really nice car because there's stuff you can find that's wrong with them. But there is, with this car, it's literally just brand new. Like, they did 39,000 of very easy miles on this car. Very, very clean. And it's actually well built too. A lot of cheap cars, like the doors, when you close them, they kind of rattle a little bit. These ones like sound freaking solid. Back in the day, I actually had seen these cars because I knew their rear end, and it looks a little funky, I'll give it that, but it doesn't really look all that bad. It just looks like a pretty short, like hatchback kind of thing, but in my opinion, it doesn't look all that bad. Oddly enough, the turn signals and the reverse lights and everything, those are halogen. For an electric car, especially with not a huge battery in it, in 2011, stuff was advanced enough to where you could stick LEDs in there, but they didn't. This car is also equipped with a solar panel. This trickle charges the 12-volt battery up front. It does not charge the actual car. It's way too small for that. This is not the lowest end car. I think this is, I don't remember if it's the SL or SV. It's the one above. I think the SV is the base, and then SL is the one right above it that has the solar panel, the fog lights, and all that good stuff. Anyway, for $3,800, I definitely could not be any more happy with this. And so far, I have loved driving it. I've put about 200 miles on it so far. I think all said and done, this is gonna be a really fun, easy little project to just make into actually pretty cool car. I think we can bring it into the modern age pretty quick. The Leaf actually has some pretty sweet technology in it. Now, maybe I'm just biased because my first car was a Saturn SL2, 1990 something Saturn SL2. But since then, I've driven like the Camaro and a few other more modern cars as well. And so when you get in, you literally don't even have to take the key out of your pocket to drive this thing. You never have to take the key out of your pocket. So you get in, and if it shows that little symbol, then you just push the little button right there, and it starts lighting up everything. There we go. 41 miles. This isn't on a full charge, but I will say this is winter. And in the winter, you see a 10-mile drop. However, if you put it in eco, here's the shifter, by the way. Once puts it in drive, twice puts it in eco. So you guys can see there, it jumped up about 3 miles, range estimation there. And the battery temperature, you can see, is pretty low. And it's ready to drive right now. Every time you get in the car, you have to agree or decline to them wirelessly transmitting the vehicle data to Nissan, which I definitely decline every time. So up here you have your little power display. This is regen over here. This is how much power you're giving it when you're throttling. Up here you guys can see this little gauge right here is hilarious. It actually grows trees. This is basically nothing over here, but to tell you how economically you're driving and how many trees you're growing from the saved carbon emissions since you're driving electric. And so as you drive efficiently and nice and smooth and lots of regen and everything, it actually, when the bar fills up, it gives you like segments of a tree, and as you get full trees, it like tells you how big your forest is getting. It's so weird. And there's no point to put it there, but it's almost like a game while you're driving, how many trees you can grow. It's got like the electronic parking brake if you want to use that as well. Just a lot of nice little conveniences. And I can't show you right now, but you can actually adjust your headlights. Like, it electronically lowers or just raises your headlights and whatnot. Things you have to manually do in other cars, like adjusting the headlights from the front with a little screwdriver and stuff, and then coming back into the car and seeing if it's right, then going back out. You literally can just change it right here. So just little things like that are really nice. We have a lot of cars, so I work on a lot of cars, and they've all been gassed to this point, so I'm always doing the oil changes. Everything that a car requires for maintenance, I do myself. And just not having to do that in this car is just so nice. Now, I haven't had this for very long, so maybe there is more that I don't know that'll be a big hassle as well. But for now, electric is just so much more simple and just so much easier to maintain that I'm very excited to have a round town city car that I really don't have to maintain much and just do, you know, and not have to do a lot of the stuff that you have to do on a gasoline car. And the only downside for electric cars was range and just not being able to go super far, and then the lack of charging stations, because back in the day when these cars were built, people were complaining like crazy because the range was only like you know, rated for 100 miles, but everybody was saying to get 85 miles on a completely new battery or something. And there were hardly any chargers back then. 2011, there were like no chargers anywhere. They had to charge at home and hope they made it home every night from one charge. But now, if I pulled up the maps, there's chargers 0.2 miles, 0.5 miles, 1 mile, 2 mile, 3 mile, just everywhere chargers. And a lot of them are free. I'm still figuring that out. I just got my ChargePoint card, so I can finally get like the free DC fast charging and all that kind of stuff. So I guess let's just get these LED lights installed. I want to definitely optimize this car to get as many miles as possible, because it only does, at least right now in the winter, only gets like 44 miles, up to 50 miles if it's a warmer day. So I definitely want to optimize as much as I can. But again, it's a perfect around town kind of commuter car, and I'm super excited to have it. For $3,800, I'm not complaining. Definitely below Kelley Blue Book value, and it feels like a new car. There's really nothing wrong with it. Shutdown sequence. The Nissan Leaf has a 100, around 200 pound-feet of torque electric motor. It's a traction motor, and it has a 12-volt accessory battery here that the solar panel on the back actually trickle charges. So that's pretty cool. Nissan added what looks to be a valve cover. It's kind of funny. Most people, when I open up the engine bay and show it to them, they say, oh, it's a hybrid. I thought you said it was an electric. I said, yeah, no, that's an electric. Anyway, that's kind of funny. You guys can see here, there's a lot of different electrical components. There's really actually not that much. You have your brake fluid, your coolant, there is motor coolant. There's a battery that you may need to replace at some point in the future. There's still fuses, and there's still some things here and there. And there's like washer fluid and stuff. So like, it's not maintenance free, but it's a whole lot easier to maintain this thing than a gas vehicle, because there are no oil changes. There's a lot less complex parts to fail. And just overall, it's a little bit simpler. So on the Nissan Leaf, you go inside the car and you pop the little latch for the charge door here, and then you just pull it straight up. And there you have it. So this is a stage 1 and stage 2 charger here. Stage 1 charger is the one you plug in at your house on a 110 volt outlet. There's also stage 2 chargers, which is same plug, but it's a 220 outlet. And so it charges the car a little quicker. But then this model of Leaf is also equipped with a DC fast charger here. And that is what, I mean, you guys know what a fast charger is. So that's kind of cool. So here is my stage 1 charger. This is the Nissan Leaf charger right here. And so that's the stage 1, straight to a 110 outlet. And Nissan Leafs do come with their zero emissions charger holder. So you know you're something special when you have one of these. So that's the car, but the real question is, how does it drive? Let's find out. All right, driving the Nissan Leaf. Ooh. This car actually has quite a bit of pickup in it. You would be surprised. It's definitely doesn't feel slow at all when you're driving it. So while we're out, let's get you guys a top speed and a 0 to 60. This car is limited to a 90 mile an hour top speed, I believe. It's electronically limited. It could go faster. The motor has the power, but they limit it to conserve battery life. All right, 0 to 60. Oh, I'm spinning my tires. There it is. Yeah, I spun my tires pretty good, and we were going over a hill on that one. So I'll just take us out of town just a little bit, and we will hit that top speed run. Overall though, the feel of this car, it just like how it's constructed and stuff, I really like it. I don't know, it could just be me, but I really do like it. And it's got regen, by the way. You guys will see that second dot up here, that is just regen kicking on. And overall, just the ambiance and just the presence inside the car, it's relaxing. I mean, I'm used to really loud cars. I put exhaust on like everything that I own. And so just the feeling of when you stop at a stoplight and there is absolutely no noise and you're just hearing cars going by and the road sounds and the sounds of the city, it's just different, I guess, for me. But I kind of like it. I don't know if I'm just aging poorly, but I kind of just like it. Oh, and another thing, the suspension also feels really nice. Like, it's a really smooth ride. You're not wafting around everywhere, but also it's not too bumpy and it's not uncomfortable at all to ride in it. All right, I'm gonna do us all a big favor and just pull right over here and let that person get a really big head start. Look, I grew the roots of a little tree. How about that? When you grow a whole tree from driving economically, it makes you a little forest. Isn't that cute? All right, yeah, I'm just gonna do it right now. All right, here we go. Drag strip ready, boys. Here we go. 0-60, 0 miles per hour, full throttle, chirping the tires. 30, 50, 60, boom. There it is. And let's get the top speed as far as we can. Pedal to the metal still. See what we got. Yeah, it stops it at 90, I believe. So anyway, that's just the general overview of this car. Nice smooth ride in my opinion. But how does it function at night? The thing about these cars is you have to be very conscious about what systems you're turning on because they drain your battery a lot faster. Like if you have climate control on, for example, or if you even have like headlights and all that kind of stuff on, it drains your battery faster. Radio, same thing. I didn't notice a decrease in mileage with the radio on at all, but you do have to think about that kind of stuff in this car. So when you're driving at night and the windshield's getting all foggy and whatnot, you got to turn on the climate control. You have to have your headlights on. So like, how does it work at night? Let's take a look. All right, so we're back at night. I got my assistant with me here and she's going to be helping me out with climate controls. I was just telling you guys how it affects mileage and you have to be thinking about that kind of stuff. So I got my headlights on. The dash dims itself when you turn the headlights on, so that kind of compensates for it. But if you want to go ahead and hit the climate control, just turn on like the defroster. We're at 34 miles. It just dropped to 29 right when she pushed the button. I will say this thing actually does a pretty decent job of estimating how many miles you can go on the charge. You have to drive economically, of course. If you're just gassing it the whole time, you're not going to get nearly as many as it thinks you're going to get. I drove this thing about 200 miles since I got it. And each time the charge said about 40 or, to 40 to 50 miles per charge, and I was getting about that, driving pretty economically. So that does it for my 2011 Nissan Leaf. This is it. Is it the worst investment I've ever made, or is it a good purchase? Only time will tell. But for now, it seems like the value is there for how good of shape the car is in and just the specs I am actually getting. I think it's definitely a good value for the money. I already saved about $45 to $50 of gas money. I've driven this thing like 230 miles at this point. So I think that's a pretty killer deal. And the insurance on this thing is like not that much. So I'm gonna drive this car basically until it gives out. And then I'll have the option, do I replace the battery with a higher mileage one that goes like 150, even 200 mile range? They make batteries for it to do that now. Or do we salvage parts out of this and actually build something way cooler with a already good motor? We could even use the frame and body and everything to make something pretty sweet. Between me and Lord Kurt, we can make something insane out of the parts that are in this car. So we have that option, but that's definitely a couple years in the future probably. Hopefully the battery doesn't die before then, because that would suck. And my wife would not like me very much after that. So I like it. I can get anywhere I want to go for free within 19 miles one way. Thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys being here and just, you know, enjoying the videos. Hopefully you are. Make sure you subscribe, I gotta ask, and smash that like button and comment. Next video, I do have upgrade plans for this thing. It's gonna be a fun one. Stay tuned, guys.